Hello and welcome to episode 10, Jet. It's almost like they can hear me saying, hey, those titles are too complicated, and they make them unbelievably simple. Well, that's a very simple title to remember. And in some ways, kind of a simple episode to remember too, not especially, I don't want to say not especially complex, but I mean, it doesn't further the story too much, but it does sort of establish where our heroes are and where sort of other people are in terms of this battle and this war. This is the one where they come across this village, kind of like the Lost Boys, where it's a bunch of kids in the trees, and they're fighting against the Fire Nation that has taken over this realm and or this this part of the land, and you find out a touch more about the Fire Nation in that you do see, oh, there are like families and people, it's sort of like, you don't see that in Star Wars either. You don't see like the family of the stormtroopers or the people they bring on or anything. I like they give a little bit more depth to it aside from Fire Nation bad, that's it, except for one or two that are the characters we're going to make complex. No, it's a war, it's a battle, and there are going to be civilians on both sides. So that's kind of nice. This is one, they come across these kids in the trees. They're led by a boy named Jet, who Katara has the hots for, and you kind of know where it's going, where Sokka is sort of, he's getting a little ahead of himself. He's made a few mistakes, and this Jet kid comes and is much better than him, and Sokka makes it clear he wants to be the leader, the leader of the three of them. And again, here's a kid that's much better, much more athletic, but his priorities are a little askewed, and they're a little too intense. He wants to wipe out the Fire Nation and anything that has to do with them, even their families, even neighborhoods that do not partake in, the battle, really. While it does seem kind of simple, that there's a few things I really like. I like that all three of the characters do not have any interest of taking out the civilians. I think that's really cool, and it does show the extremes that some people will go to, and I think that's, even though it doesn't completely further the story, as far as I know, I see a lot of people, commenting saying it's gotta come back later, so maybe it will. But the story for now that I see, it doesn't seem to be furthering it. But it does establish that there's more complexities going on here than a very basic, good versus evil and so forth. And I like that these three characters are very much, they got their priorities in the right place, and I think for younger viewers this is a really good chance to sort of look into this a little bit more, because I am seeing more and more kids programming does like to teach kind of more different lessons than they used to before, and maybe that is a common message now in kid shows, again, not having seen many currently, of does wiping out, is the very idea of are you with me or against me, is that the best mindset to go in with? And usually they lean towards no. It's never right to kill anybody, if you can avoid it, and I like how Aang always leans towards that too. But the kid Jet, his side is identifiable. And I don't know, he sort of seemed like sort of a lighter version of the Prince character, but again, I'm not against this episode because I think it is good to make this clear to kids that, hey, this isn't just good versus bad, or it's good versus bad and there's some good, just one or two good characters, it's not that clear, that, in times of battle and war, it's, you go after the soldiers, the people who signed up to do this, you don't go after civilians. What I really like about this episode, though, is they go after this old man in the opening, and Sokka doesn't like it. He sees as a Fire Nation person, but he doesn't like that they're going after him and they were gonna beat him and stuff. And Sokka actually stands up for the guy. So whatever. That's just a little leeway showing, oh hey, Jet's kind of bad and stuff. That comes back. I like that it comes back to when Sokka has to actually leave the people out of the village, which I was saying to myself, well, wait, how would he do that? How would he convince them and stuff? And the old man is there, and I thought, man, did that tie together perfectly. Like, that was really smart. I love the way that meshed together. Um, I'm trying to think that the forest in this one was pretty cool. All the leaves were red. It's sort of like permanent fall in this, which was also smart because it shows you're in Fire Nation territory as well. A couple good jokes in there. A lot of people are telling me like, hey, quit, why are you picking on Sokka so much and stuff? He's okay. I mean, I don't dislike the character. It's just the comedy in this show in general seems to be very sort of hit and miss, but it seems to be getting better and better. And he seems to be very much the comic foil for a lot of this, but not entirely. He does have, as I mentioned before, he has a lot of good strengths to him as well. And he does try hard, and he is very honorable and stuff like that. He's just also, sometimes can be egotistical and so forth, and has the funny one-liners. Sort of a typical older sibling. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the character, if anyone thinks I do. Pretty much, yeah, I wish there was more I could say about this episode. It's sort of just a very basic one. Okay, not that, that sounds bad. It's not very basic on its own. It actually has a real good message for kids. It's a good moral. I like that we see a little bit more what the Fire Nation is sort of about a little bit. I mean, just the fact that you see they have families, it just sort of doesn't even dawn in your head. Again, it's like thinking, what do the stormtroopers, what are their families like? You don't think of this stuff. So I like that. I like it gives a little bit more, it gives the villains a little bit more of a personality outside of just the top 2 or 3 that are constantly going after them. And it gives them a little bit more of a life. And when you do that, it just makes the world more believable. So I do like that, and I think it's a good message they're getting across too. Didn't seem to further the story too much, but again, maybe they'll come back, maybe they'll do all this other stuff. But it's still good. It's still a good episode, and I was glad I saw it. Yeah, like I said, probably a short one today. I couldn't find a ton to say about this one, but you've heard me ramble on so much, it's probably a relief to you. So I will catch you guys in the next one. Take care.